Well, I'm back and it's time for more all-in-one liquid cooling goodness. And you know what else is back? Hello everybody and welcome to Tech Uploaded. I'm Chris as always, and like I said today, it's more fun with all-in-one liquid cooling. So I've got the Enermax LIQTECH 240. I always want to say LIQTECH, but it's LIQTECH 240. I'm not gonna lick it though. But I need, this is more of an I need thing instead of a I want to review it type situation. So, all right, the Kraken X61. I had my first one. The review sample was bad, had the rattle on the pump and had some issues. So they gave me a replacement for the review, and that one was fine for a few months, but guess what? Lo and behold, the rattling weird sound is back, and it just makes me so uneasy, not to mention it's incredibly annoying. So I have to admit, I really had never heard of this particular cooler until I saw a video from JayzTwoCents, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna buy what I think is gonna just work, and work for a while, more than a couple of months. And Jay was really impressed with this LIQTECH 240. He said it was incredibly well built. It was really quiet. The stock fans were excellent, which is great because now I can mount the fans on the bottom and have it pulling cold air in from the outside and have it set up and pull instead of push, so I don't have to remove the thing again if I have to clean it. Although that's never been an issue because I never had a liquid cooler installed long enough to need to clean it, but hopefully this one will actually make it long enough to be in that situation. So, you know, I figured if you haven't watched Jay's review, I'm gonna do an unboxing and overview of this bad boy. Then I'm gonna install it in my system and we'll take a look at how it performs as far as cooling as well as noise levels. So let's take a look at it. All right, so you know how I do. I'm gonna unbox it from a distance, but I'll give you the good old close-up shots as soon as I get everything out of the box. So just a little tab here to pull, and then you pull that and woo, there we go. So right up front, you've got the manual here, and the other nice little piece you get in here is this nice foam, right? Actually, this foam can be handy. I always say keep this stuff around. You never know what you might want to use it for. As soon as you get all that out, then here you go. Got everything in the box right up front. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and pull this out. One of the things that Jay was really excited about with this was the rigidity of the actual, what's the word I'm looking for here? Radiator, the rigidity of the radiator. He said it was very, very, very solid. And anyone that's used other brands knows that it's not always the case. Sometimes they're, you know, you hit it the wrong way and you can bend some of the little fins in there. So here are the fans that come with this. We'll go ahead and talk about the box after I get everything out. But you know what, we're gonna do this in reverse. We're gonna look at everything and then we're gonna talk about it. So here's the fans. Looking at these are PWM fans. They have a nice heft to them. Apparently these have been engineered specifically for this, and they're nice black fans, so they'll fit nicely in with the case. They won't clash with anything, which is gonna be really nice. And it looks like, yeah, 1300, 2000, 2500 is written on there. Don't know what all that means, but guessing the RPMs at which it will operate. But they're supposed to be super, super quiet. So I think I'm gonna actually go in bypass using my Noctua fans I usually use and go ahead and give those bad boys a try. Well, they just look a lot better. All the mounting hardware is in this box, so yeah, there's a lot in there. You get, let's see. Oh, you get the splitter cable, so that's good. You get all of your mounting hardware. This looks intimidating as hell, I'm not gonna lie. There are a lot of little pieces in here. This is not gonna be a walkthrough video on how to install this, so if you're looking for that, sorry. Just not feeling it, because I have a feeling I'm gonna struggle bus on this one. And then you've got the back plate, which looks crazy. Apparently it's set up for everything from Intel to AMD, it's looking like here, so. What else we got in here? Oh man, this is never a good sign. Okay, I thought these were little wrenches for a minute. Like whenever those are in there, that's always a problem. You got two of these pieces, assuming we'll figure out. We're definitely gonna need the user's manual for this one. Usually when I do these, I know how to install them because I'm using ones that are using the same mounting design, but this one is definitely different. And then you got this little Molex to 2-pin adapter for converting power, should you need to. And finally, the star of the show. Let's get this bad boy out of here. This plastic part's always so loud, cut back. All right, I gotta say, holding this pump, this thing's a beast. This is heavy, this is very hefty. Twice the weight easily of the Kraken X61. And you can see it's not overly thick. Looking at it right there. get the close-up shots on it too, but the fins on this thing are sturdy as hell, man. These things are solid. I mean, I can run my finger over them, nothing bad's happening. I'm pressed on them pretty hard, squeezing them. I mean, these things are in there really, really good. And this block, and pump combo here, man, this thing is solid. I mean, it's metal. There's very little plastic on here, if any, and then it does have the heat sink along the top to help dissipate some additional heat as well, which is always nice to see. The tubing is a decent length. It's not super long. This may be a little shorter than I think what I've got right now, but I'd have to compare the specs to know for sure. And then as far as the box is concerned, I mean, it's your pretty simple fare. You got the picture of the product on the front, but let's go through some of the features that you've got on here. You've got the shunt channel technology, 3 cooling modes, high pressure airflow fans, bearing technology, dual fans. I mean, it's 240, of course it's dual fans. And detachable blades. That's interesting, so you can detach the blades if you want to clean them. That's really nice. And then along the back, you do get these specs. Now, this is compatible with Intel LGA 775, 1150, 1155, 1156, 1366, 2011, AMD, AM2, AM2+, AM3, AM3+, FM1, FM2, FM2+. Boom, there you go. It is a copper cold plate, an aluminum radiator, and rubber tubing. So that's very nice. Ceramic bearings for the pump. Looks like it's rated at 50,000 hours, so that's good to see. And the fans are rated at 160,000 hours. And then the fan speed ranges from 600 to 100 or 1,300 RPMs, 2,000 RPMs, or 2,500 RPMs, and they are a 12 volt on those fans. They are 4-pin PWM. It does point out on here that it uses the high quality water block and that shunt technology so that it's going to actually be able to dissipate a little bit more heat. So there's really, really small, you probably can't even, you can barely see it in there, but it looks like there's really, 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 really small grooves along the bottom of the plate here for bottom of the cold plate to dissipate heat. You do have 2 times length radiator with seamless contact area and the high pressure airflow fans. So there's the box for you. Lots of, information on there. More stuff's on the side. You got a little bit of a picture. It will cool up to a 300 watt plus TDP CPU. So for those of you running that really beastly FX chip, that's good. The manual is pretty simple fare, but I am definitely going to need it for this installation. It looks like it could be, it doesn't look too bad, I guess. I don't know. So that said, it's time to go ahead and get this thing installed so I can do some number crunching. All right, so I originally recorded the closing to this video the same night that I installed the LIQTECH 240 in my system back there, but right after that, I lost my internet. It went kaput for a little over a week, and I didn't have enough bandwidth to upload, so I thought, you know what? Why not take this as a chance to just go ahead and give my thoughts on this thing after about a week and a half of use? So why not? Let's do it. So first off, I have to say, this thing is incredibly well built. Man, is this thing solid. Pretty much everything on it is some kind of metal. There's very little plastic. There's a little bit of plastic like in the tubing and stuff like that, but the block, super solid. And then the radiator, super, super solid. That thing is sturdy. The entire thing is heavy. The mounting backplate is heavy. The mounting system is really solid. I was a little bit worried that it was going to be complicated when I saw all the parts that were involved. But I have to say, actually, really easy. I love the way they did it. They had this little ingenious setup where you put the backplate through and you had your post come out, and then they had the standoffs designed so that they would actually, when they would slide down the post, they would hold in place so that once you put all 4 of the standoffs on, you could move your computer around and you wouldn't lose the backplate when you were actually going to install the cooler. The only thing I did, or the blocks, so the only thing I did find you had to do was you had to kind of put a little bit of pressure behind on the backplate to hold it in place when you got past the first screw, because you had to put tension on it to get the spring to catch. So you got to be putting some, tension on the other side to keep things from slipping. That was a little bit of a learning curve, but other than that, super easy to install. The thing I like about it a lot is the fact that there's no frills here whatsoever. It does one thing, it cools down your CPU. There's no fancy software, there's no USB cables you gotta run in weird places and all that kind of stuff. It just works. There's switches on the fan, so you have 3 different PWM profiles you can set. You can basically set your thresholds as far as how loud the fans are allowed to get. I've got mine running to the motherboard headers, so the pump and the fans are both on profiles that are working out really, really well. And with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at the numbers on this thing. All right, once again, these are the maximum temperatures on a 4790K running at 4.6 gigahertz, and these have been adjusted for an ambient room temperature of 78 degrees Fahrenheit. So you can see that this thing did really, really well. 29 at idle versus the X61, which was 31 at idle. And then you had 49 in the valley, which beat out the next closest thing that I have tested, which was the X61 by 6 degrees. And then really impressed with Prime 95, 71 degrees max. Really, really impressed with that one. It didn't get loud at all. The profile did kick up quite a bit to its maximum speed, but even at that, everything was nice and quiet. Very surprised. I mean, you could hear it, but it wasn't obnoxious. So yeah, I've got to say I'm really impressed with this thing, and the best part is there's a new version of it out at this point, so the updated model has caused the pricing to go way down. I've seen this thing as low as 85 with rebate on some websites, and for that price, this thing is a steal. It's like I said, built like a tank. It's quiet. The fans are well designed. I had no wish to put the Noctua fans on here. I put the stock fans on, set the profile to the medium profile, and I've been happy. And I can proudly say now, with the pump not being super rattly and loud like the X61, that this is now a very quiet component in my system. And the loudest component in my system is now my 4 terabyte Western Digital Black hard drive. When that thing spins up, it's very obvious because everything else in the system is so quiet. Another thing to note, I did switch the graphics system out between when I did the other 2 tests. So instead of 1780 Ti, I've got 970s and SLI. But considering that those run so much cooler, I think there may have been a little bit of an advantage actually on this test than there was on the previous test, because those cards are just running a lot cooler when I was at least doing the Valley benchmark. However, they do vent into the case, whereas the 780 was venting out, so I'm not going to consider that too much of a variable in the testing. Would I buy it again? Well, hopefully I don't have to, but if I had another system, I would. And, you know, I'm really tired of having to change out coolers, so hopefully this one has found a home that it can stay in for quite a while. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and click on that subscribe button. You can also follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram by following the links below or wherever they are on what device you're looking at in the description. And then you can also shoot me an email at techuploaded@gmail.com if you have any questions, comments, or other things to share. So you know the drill. Don't be a stranger. Check back soon.